Hi there, and welcome to part 4 of Sonic Unleashed. And this part will be mainly focusing on the PS3 version, as we head to Spagonia to progress the story a little. Now, Spagonia, it's one of the more popular themes in this game, although we won't be playing the levels yet. We're just here for a cutscene, essentially. But anyway, it is one of the more popular themes from the game, and rightly so. It's a gorgeous looking city, it's based off Italy. Yeah, really nice. It kind of reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, where that was based off Italy as well, except those environments were not as good. They were kind of dull, if I'm honest. And I'm not sure if this university you see here is based off anything, especially with this sort of snitch as a monument there. That's probably an allusion to something. But anyway, this is Professor Pickle's laboratory. We're going in to find out where he is. And coming up now is a cutscene with a familiar voice.
What? Professor Pickle's been kidnapped?
It was a little bit before the tremors hit. This old man showed up with a whole pack of robots. They carried poor Professor Pickle off. Lab data and all.
It can't be.
That sure sounds like Eggman.
What a horrible thing to do. We've got to go help that professor guy out, and fast. If he got kidnapped that long ago, he's got to be real hungry by now. And if I was that hungry, I don't know how long I would last. I'd rather be dead.
I'm sure Eggman is feeding him. Even he's not that cruel.
Okay. Let's go and find the professor.
And a whole pack of robots. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, that was obviously Jason Griffiths voicing Professor Pickle's assistant. The character doesn't actually have a name, so the pro Pickle, the assistant Pickle, the executive producer Pickle, the junior Pickle, whatever. And at this point of the game, you have to talk to someone to move the story along, and it's not a huge issue, really. I mean, people complain about hub worlds in Sonic games. It's really not an issue. You're only here for like 5 minutes. I mean, well, not 5 minutes. Just yeah, you see right here. You talk to one person, and you get to move on. So the hub worlds aren't really a big thing. And I say that because I sometimes feel like defending this game because I think it gets hate it doesn't. I mean, at the same time, it gets a lot of love it shouldn't. Some fans praise this as the best Sonic game ever, and it's got a lot of charm to it. But and I do like it if you haven't gathered. But it's not one of the very best ones, and there are flaws with it. See, I tried to leave them, but I have to talk to Tails to leave. Oh noes. Okay, this sort of thing isn't really bad padding. The collecting medals, that's a bad padding. And the warehouse levels, let's face it, that's kind of padding. Big long levels. Anyway, we're now on to Missouri, which is based off Africa. I think it's more based off Kenya, because Missouri is a Kenyan word. Actually, tell a lie. Missouri is from the phrase Maji Missouri, which means good water, and it's Swahili. And I paused the recording to actually find that out, so good for me. Yeah, so give me a pat on the back for doing an ounce of research. Now, as you can see in Missouri, the hub world is a village, and it's one of my favourite hub worlds in the game. I do think the levels that accompany it aren't too interesting. I mean, they're fun to play, but being like the second level, they're still sort of introductory, so they're not too complex yet. And I'll take a time to talk to the few characters here. It is a nice touch. The NPCs will have their own personality and not backstory, but they all have their own stories. Kwame acting really strange. That's kind of a giveaway. yeah, again, that's sort of an optional side quest where you go around and sort of help people who are acting strangely. But it's optional, so I won't do it. Got enough on my plate. This is a very savannah-based level. There is actually a jungle stage coming up near the end of the game, and I do enjoy that. But I do really like this level too. Now, entering the stage select, you can see now it's sort of it's just a one wide open area, but it's got a few interesting points here. It'll take 5 minutes out to beat the shit out of this guy. Yeah, fuck you, buddy. Now, coming up soon is another werehog level. So, yeah. And this one, it's a bit longer and a bit harder than the previous level, but it's a fairly transitional one too. So, which you're about to see. And I do like the elephant in the background there, just slightly out of reach. It does bring up a confusing sort of issue with Sonic games, because he's an anthropomorphic animal, but there are other animals in the world which are more like actual animals. A little inconsistent here. But then again, that's just kind of logic. It kind of reminds me of Pokemon, where I do wonder what they eat. Like, I do know in the episodes you do actually see actual fish. So I guess they eat fish. It's a Japanese series, so it would make sense that in the world of Pokemon, people would eat fruit, vegetables, and fish, and wheat and stuff. So I can't really fault it for that. Cashew block puzzle. And here we are in the night level. So, this level introduces us to a trope of the beat-em franchise or genre. Genre is the best word, actually. And it's the range attack enemy, which you can't see now, but they're essentially these flower type creatures which launch attacks from a distance. But right now I'm not going to fight them yet. I'm trying to look for some medals hidden in the corner here. That's think I've seen in Ratchet and Clank games or Crash Bandicoot games, where they hide an item behind the start of the level. Very sneaky indeed. Yeah. So anyway, these range attack enemies, the flowers, these enemies do actually have names. They have like an art book with concept art, and they tell you information about them. But whatever. And take them out first, because they can get annoying. Now this section here, coming up, does highlight an issue I have with the werehog levels. And it's that they're not too interesting. You see coming up, you'll just have to push a block onto a switch, which is very basic. And that's a problem. That's the problem. There's not too many interesting puzzles. They're all block puzzles, or collect the coloured stone and put the coloured stone in the slot puzzle, which you'll see later. And really, it could have been a bit more interesting. And now this building we are now entering is actually based off a real landmark in Africa. It's called the and forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, but it's called the Jingerebe Mosque in Timbuktu, which was built in 1327. So yeah, but at least they use real landmarks, and that's a good. That's the whole point of this game, and it's a really good theme actually. See it working again. Although it's not the first time they've did this before Unleashed. Like, I'm reminded of Sonic Adventure 2, where you grind on the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. So yeah, that's always a cool thing to do. And this is where the comparisons to Prince of Persia start cropping up a bit more. Now the length of this level is about 20 minutes, I believe, on average. And for me, this is as long as one of these levels should get, really. The later ones can last up to 25 minutes or half an hour. Ooh, actually, even the one I'm thinking of later lasts like 40 minutes, and that's a bit unnecessary. But when recording the footage for this LP, I found that because I already played these levels, that replaying them again wasn't really an issue. I actually enjoyed them a bit more. So we've got to turn the crank here. It's a pity I don't have my Omni wrench. It would make this job a bit more easier, I can tell you. And I swear, I really should have practiced these levels a bit more. But something weird about the PlayStation 3 version is that you can't have more than one save file. If you start a new game, you delete your original data. While I was saying that, something I didn't try was logging onto the PS3 as a different user, which might have let me create a new save file that way. But I don't know, that seems a bit ass backwards to me. Why can't one user have multiple save files? But oh well. Yeah, no, I missed an opportunity there. I think there was a record up there I didn't get. Can't be sure, but anyway, that was a shortcut. You swing across and you can traverse this area easily. Well, actually, no, it isn't a shortcut because you needed to push this block anyway. And what's weird here is that the inside of the house is all glowing yellow, which kind of seems odd. But anyway. Now, in case you don't know, this game was actually created using the Hedgehog engine, and that's why we have all this fancy lighting. And I'll admit, the lighting is pretty good here. It's sort of, you see the normal maps showing off the textures and the bumps. The lights seem to glow and they have rays. That it's very natural. The lighting is good. That's my point. Yeah, so we think this is based off Africa, and well, it is obviously, but this is more of the sort of Sahara Africa, well, the north of Africa anyway, where it's all hot and sunny, and not really too much jungles or greenery. Yeah, but that's cool. Critical attack there. And if I haven't already said, if you do critical attacks, you get bonus points, and yeah, that's the best way to get an S rank at the end of the stage. I'm just looking at the trope of having a magical wall, which doesn't come down unless you defeat the set amount of enemies, which arguably doesn't make sense, but it's a gameplay I don't really appreciate in Sonic games. Like in Sonic Heroes, you always have to stop and defeat a crowd of enemies before moving on. But I'll admit, in this game it's a lot better because it's actually built to be a fighting game. Yeah, Heroes was trying to be a fighting game with a platforming style, which didn't really work out there. You can probably tell I'm not really a huge fan of Heroes, but kind of going off topic here. Now, let's just allow me to say how I feel about the Werehog in general. Now, I think it could have been a good idea, and that's not to say it's automatically a bad idea now. It's just done okay in this game, I believe. Now, the concept of the Werehog, I think it obviously comes from the fact that Sega have had negative feedback about including other characters in games. So having the Werehog was sort of a sneaky way of having Sonic playable, or having multiple styles too. And I also get the feeling that Sega were kind of worried in this game that the game would be too short, so they have these longer levels with the Werehog. They have the medals to slow it down. I mean, they have the medals which you have to collect, which neither of them are a big issue for the game. Well, actually they are, but they don't ruin the game per se. But they could have been handled better. Now, when it comes to the design of the Werehog, I do actually like him. It looks kind of cool. He still looks like Sonic, but he's all fuzzy. He's got big, lumbrous arms. Oh, and he somehow grows cleats on his shoes whenever he transforms. And he also loses them when he transforms back. A bit of game logic at its finest. Now, a lot of fuss was made about the Werehog, because I know a lot of people just hated it instantly. I was sort of apprehensive. I was thinking, really? A Werehog? Because I do genuinely believe, however, that Sega or Sonic Team were really trying with this game. That they didn't put in the Werehog like, oh shit, Steve, we've run out of ideas. Werehog? Okay. That they were genuinely trying to do something experimental, something creative. Because I think a lot of people look at the Werehog and think, oh crap, Sega, they've run out of ideas. Sonic's dead. Like, again with Sonic and the Black Knight and the Sonic with the sword. But anyway, I do genuinely believe these are creative experiments. They're not, they're not trying to kick a dead horse or trying an idea to desperately bring back Sonic or whatever. I do genuinely believe they were honest. They thought the Werehog, yeah, that could be a good idea. We get multiple characters, but at the same time, it's only Sonic. Genius. But I guess it didn't work out as they wanted. But then again, is the Werehog really that bad by himself? Because I think the big issue, which I probably have with the Werehog, is the fact that it's in a Sonic game. Maybe if the Werehog was a lot faster, a lot more acrobatic, jumping from roof to roof, swinging round poles that go like miles in a circumference. What the hell am I saying? But you know what I mean, very acrobatic, jumping 12 feet in the air or 12 feet across, jumping from pole to pole lightning fast, like Spider-Man or something. If it was something like that, if it was a speed combat platformer, I think it would have been a bit more received. But like I just said, then again, people just looked at the Werehog and instantly dismissed it. I'll give it a chance, and I think it's okay. And the stretchy arms, yeah, I thought that's a good idea. I mean, it's called a Werehog, but he's not supposed to be like a literal werewolf. And a good thing too, but when it comes to Werehog, I kind of think Sonic's a Werehog, Shadow the Hedgehog is immortal and brooding, so he's like a vampire, and Amy's often connected with both of them, so I get this funny Twilight feel when I think about it. Are you on Team Sonic or Team Shadow? Hello. Oh. I think someone did a spoof of Amy Rose in Twilight. Or whatever. I don't know why I brought up Twilight. Just, I was thinking, a Werehog, a whiny female protagonist, and a vampire type person. Hey, it's Twilight. But yeah, the stretchy arms, like I was trying to say, I think they were a good idea. Only if a bit more was done with them, I suppose. It's like, I think every level they should introduce you something new to grab. If that makes sense. Like, the level 1 have ledges. The second level introduce poles. The third level introduce swinging poles. Or whatever. Oh, I'm just sort of spitballing ideas here. Yeah, thanks, camera. Oh, by the way, you might see the camera jerking out. That's not a problem with the camera. The camera's sort of fixed. And when you see the jerking about, that's me trying to move it. But it's kind of locked. So, the issue's not with the camera, it's just that I'm trying to move a fixed camera. Another good design point there is you see the checkpoints from a classic Sonic series. They brought them back for this game, I believe. Because, yeah, I believe they got rid of those checkpoints in Sonic Heroes and Shadow the Hedgehog. And I'm trying to remember the checkpoints in Sonic 06, but I've drawn a complete blank. But anyway, the checkpoints are back and they make the doo-doo sound. Doo-doo. They make that lovely sound, that lovely classic sound. So, I'm pleased to see them back. Well, what I find in this game is to activate those checkpoints, you have to run through them. Whereas in the newer games, you just have to pass over them at a certain point. Like you could jump over the checkpoint and it would still activate. Which is a nice little touch there. Mashing enemies. So yeah, we're nearly at the end of this level now, and like I said, this should be the precise length for a werehog level. Unfortunately, the rest aren't so kind. And you might notice we're playing the PS3 version, obviously. But what's I guess what you could call a drawback in the PS2 version, there's no werehog level, but there's also no day level, but just the boss. So is that a good thing? I mean, you miss out on a day level, but hey, you miss out on a werehog level. That's gotta be good, right? Anyway, yeah, it's just the PS2 version has like 2 continents, not really there, but we'll get to that in greater detail. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Ugh. Pushing puzzles. Yeah, and to go back to the werehog, yeah, cool design, he looks strong, he looks all fuzzy. Could have been cool. But, you know, a lot of people say that Knuckles would have been better in this game. And honestly, you know, Knuckles is one of my favourite characters from the Sonic series. In fact, my favourite is like him and Sonic, those two guys. And I personally would have loved like Sonic and Knuckles together in this game, Sonic and Knuckles World Tour. I suppose you could have called it Sonic and Knuckles 2, but well, not really, because it wouldn't have been a sequel. But anyway, Knuckles. Well, would I have liked Knuckles in this game instead of the werehog? And I would say it depends. You know, would Knuckles be able to glide and climb? Because those are the main reasons why I like Knuckles, besides his character. And so, like, if you have the levels exactly the same, like this, except with Knuckles right there now instead of the werehog, then it would have been pointless to have Knuckles in there if he didn't do anything different. But, however, if Knuckles could glide and climb, I would have loved that. Have 3D environments for Knuckles. Just go wherever you want, like in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Like that. So, yeah. But then again, this game has a whole theme about night and day, so I probably shouldn't think about what could have been or what they should have done. Because, you know, this game's done, it's out, it's 3 years old now. Well, 4 years old, I should say. Silly me. But, yeah, the point is, I like what we got here. So, yeah, Knuckles, maybe you'll make an appearance in a future game. Hopefully. Maybe Sonic 4 Episode 3. Now this wave of enemies here does highlight the point that you should level up your strength early on. Because this sort of a wave after wave of enemies can get a bit tricky if you haven't leveled up your strength and it's your first time playing through the game. But just, you know, I'll keep them separate, I'll try and watch my back here. And also use finishers, because something else I didn't point out is that when you do finishers, you're actually immune from attacks from other enemies. So that's always a neat trick. And with the night level done, we're on our way to rescue Professor Pickle, who's being trapped by Eggman. So please, join me again in part 5.